What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at DataDash, and today is July 5th of 2018. Well, folks, as you can probably tell right off the bat, I'm not in my normal studio back in the US, but in fact, I'm here in beautiful Zurich, Switzerland. It's one of many stops that I'm going to be visiting. I'm also going to be seeing Ireland again. I'm going to be going to Lithuania for the UnConference. I'm really excited about that. And then along with that, I'm going to be visiting our Australia group in Sydney, as well as going back to Thailand. But this time I'm going to be visiting Bangkok, so really excited to go see the difference between that and Chiang Mai. Anyways, got a lot of places I'm going to be traveling to, and in fact, if you're in the Switzerland area, if you're in any of the major cities nearby Zurich, we're going to be possibly doing a meetup. So if you guys are in the area and interested, there will be a Telegram link down below to the Swiss channel for our DataDash community. Anyways, jumping into the daily update, guys, I thought I might as well go ahead and spend some time to talk and summarize about a few key things with market valuations, do a little bit of TA on market players, as well as talk about the recent headline that NANO released, which has been one of the biggest movers in the market at the moment. But as we can see across the board, markets have generally remained pretty positive over the past 2 weeks. It seems kind of euphoric in a sense to have some positive price action, with a lot of altcoins seeing double-digit gains, and for the general stance of the market, most things going to the upside. And Syscoin had a really interesting debacle with I think it was Binance. Binance's API had basically, or at least the API for a lot of accounts had been corrupted due to access of trading bots. Or when people grant their API keys to trading bots so they can trade on their accounts or their funds. And Syscoin had this huge jump in price action. It went up, I think the highest price point was like 69 Bitcoin or something. It was something crazy, some very high number. But anyways, yeah, stuff like that happens when you give out, one central bot thousands of API keys to people's accounts with lots of money. Not a smart idea. But for the most part, anyways, jumping back to the market update here, guys, markets are holding quite well, and we can obviously see that at least for the time being. It looks like we are going through a confirmed triple bottom. We've been able to hold this general line of support here for valuation around $250 billion. We can see that easily on the market cap as we start to trend higher. Volume is still relatively stagnant. We're still in a low volume market. That's why you can see a lot of altcoins moving up 10 or 20% with one big buyer coming in. Again, it's a good sign that you're starting to see larger players stack up on altcoins at these levels. That means risk-taking is around the corner. And along with that as well, we can see Bitcoin dominance is starting to drop as well. Again, I don't think you'll ever see it come back up to 45%, guys. I think this is going to continue to move downwards. We're going to see Bitcoin dominance, even in a bull rally, Bitcoin dominance continue to deplete in this case. We tend to only see it growing nowadays during corrections in markets. And we've obviously been, at least in the short term, through a pretty decent correction. So we'll talk a little bit as we go here into the TA side of things, what I'm generally looking for with Bitcoin and what I'm generally looking to see with overall kind of trends in the market. So for the time being, the major thing that I'm looking for with Bitcoin is I want us to hopefully hold over the 21-day moving average. Again, this has acted as a point of resistance, as well as a good sign for trend reversals generally for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Because again, with the 21-day moving average, it's seen as what's known as a momentum indicator. It's a comparative to the 50-day, the 100-day, and the 200-day. Moving averages like those tend to be used for finding levels of support and generalizing more longer-term trends. But for the 21-day, this is something that's used for momentum stocks traditionally in other markets. And for crypto, it's very commonly used during bull rallies because corrections usually don't last that long on the upticks, or at least when we're in a bull market. So in this case, I'm hoping to see Bitcoin continue to hold over the 21-day moving average, so hopefully over around 6,400. And I'm hoping that over the next day or so, we can break past this level of resistance, because if we can get above here and come back down and find support on this now line of resistance at the moment, we have a lot of room to move up without any serious resistance in price, all the way up to 7,600. And I think that's going to set us on our path all the way up to around $8,000. The question there is going to be whether or not we can break past this line of resistance, which for many times in the past has been a steady correction point for Bitcoin. So I'm assuming we're going to hit some resistance there over the next few weeks, but for the time being, we're seeing a slow, steady grind back up after some of the losses we've seen in the market. That's generally what I'm looking for with Bitcoin. I think we need to continue seeing more volume. We're starting to see, again, the same kind of lackluster amount of volume in the market, but we're starting to see a lot of big buy-side candles across the exchanges. Now, this is a mix of a few different things. You obviously had the Coinbase custodial service, or basically they're going to help hedge funds and institutions manage and store their cryptocurrencies, to invest in cryptocurrencies, trade them, whatever it may be. That was definitely a good plus, having these kind of entry gates for fiat to enter into crypto markets. But outside of that, there's a lot of other things, guys. One, it could just be people buying. Now there's a lot of people in OTC markets, and they want to start, obviously supporting the price through buying it on exchange. And then third as well, it's important to understand, guys, is a lot of these major leaps in price. Most of it is generally caused when there's a big enough flush in price on a Bitcoin generally. So, for example, if you have a certain leg up of price here, maybe from here to here, it might be enough price action to do what's known as liquidating shorts. And it's basically where a lot of people who are trading on margin, a lot of people who have happened to stumble upon BitMEX in this market because they're getting greedy and they want to see those same returns in December. A lot of people have been doing the 10x margin or 50x margin or 100x margin. And what happens is when you're doing enough money, where you're doing this on leverage, people have to go about covering themselves. They have to pretty much, in a sense, liquidate their account to protect themselves. And through that, a short generally gets squeezed out and has to go out and buy up a ton of Bitcoin to cover themselves. So in this case, that's what's happened, I think, a lot of these times when we see these massive spikes up. And sometimes you can see it deteriorate afterwards, as we've seen over here and over here. So this happens a lot. It's pretty common in markets, especially when people are in this low volume market trying to trade on margin. Most people shouldn't be trying to trade on margin. So big summary here is I hope we can continue to see volume. We're not going to be able to really break out against this unless we start to see some more volume, start to see some of the big buy side candles we saw back in April, as well as the dip over here back in February. We need to see some more of that to confirm the triple bottom and that this has potential to rally higher. And of course, look for our catalyst, the Ethereum futures contracts, as well as talks of a Bitcoin ETF. So those are our big thing, the big financial products coming out for these cryptocurrencies. Speaking of Ethereum, though, let's go ahead and take a look here at Ethereum. So Ethereum right now has remained relatively steady. It's holding on previous support over here in the past. It's been holding above this green line around 6,800,000 Satoshis, which has been a historical level of support for Ethereum back here. So I think so long as you continue to hold over this, you're going to see Ethereum rally throughout the year. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if Ethereum gains a few $100s in valuation towards the close of the year because you're going to probably see Ethereum futures contracts. So long as it can hold these key support levels, I think it's pretty good. But we're not seeing an intense amount of volume in Ethereum recently, or at least any serious gains in volume. XRP BTC, going on here to take a look at Ripple. Ripple looking to see if it can double bottom down here and hold support around 70,000 Satoshis. We'll have to see if it can do it. I think personally this is one that it's already broken below the 200-day moving average last time I checked, and is obviously down below the 21 days, so it's not in a position where I want to really get eager to buy it. In this case, we know Ripple can go down much, much lower. Now, do I think it's going to go down to its December lows with the hype around Ripple? No, I don't think so, and there's too much price range to really make up for that. I think you're just generally going to see this probably go down anywhere between 40,000 to 60,000, so I won't touch it until then. Sorry, guys, my nose is a little stuffed up. But going on here to Bitcoin Cash, again getting knocked down by the 21-day moving average, and it looks like it's set to go back down to around 9 million Satoshis. This has been generally my target range for Bitcoin Cash ever since we got the rally upwards. Won't touch it until it gets towards that price range and at least tests for a double bottom. Going on, take a look at a few more players. EOS here is seeing resistance at the 21-day. A lot of these altcoins getting shot down. I think this generally has to come back down and test double bottom support around 120,000 Satoshis before I get confident on it. I'm going to talk a little bit about Litecoin here. People again have been asking me about Litecoin. Again, another player that's getting shot down by the 21-day, kind of faltering, not being able to keep up with Bitcoin in this market. And with that, I think we have to still see this come down to 1 million Satoshis. Again, I've been talking about Litecoin coming down to this range for a while. It could not hold the level of support that it was trying to look for around 16 million Satoshis back in the day, around the 200-day, or I think it was around the 200-day moving average. Generally speaking, though, it's not holding well in this market, and because of that, I think we need to see it go a little bit lower. Going on, though, I want to talk a little bit, the last player I'm going to really look at here today, because I tend to forget talking about it, is NEO. NEO has been one of the best performers in the top 100 over these past few days in this bull run we've seen, at least, or not really so much a bull run, but at least a little bit of recovery that we've seen in the market. And a lot of this has come from the fact that not only NEO has been drastically sold from its highs in the sense of price, we've actually seen it go down to less than 1/3 of its previous Bitcoin comparative highs back in February. I guess this was when we were seeing, or January and February. But from there, a lot of this has stemmed generally from a rumor that was being spread, or not so much a rumor, but it was generally an announcement, a pending announcement, an announcement of an announcement in the crypto space. But NEO had basically tweeted out a very speculative announcement over the past few days, And finally, they revealed today what that is, and I'll talk a little bit about it. This was generally how they're basically continuing their path to the era of decentralization. Many people always criticize NEO for its structure of being very centralized. I think at the moment they still only have 7 consensus nodes, or still a very limited amount to where it's still very centralized. And most of these nodes are very high-level authorities. They're usually funds that are heavily invested in NEO. Some of them are companies, general individuals or groups that are tied to the NEO ecosystem. And because of this, many people have criticized that this is not a pure blockchain. It's very centralized. And it's the same kind of criticism that goes towards different governance models like EOS and a lot of other blockchain protocols. But the fact of the matter is, though, is that this is not only just an announcement to have City of Zion, which is their newest one, COZ, City of Zion, which is an organization that's very active within the NEO ecosystem, becoming one of the new consensus nodes, further continuing to distribute the network. But along with this as well, they've talked about how they're going to be building a voting system and a governance model for elections for consensus nodes. So they finally announced that it's not going to be in the hands of what NEO, the NEO Foundation wants. This is going to be an actual, there's going to be public campaigns for this. So in this case, this is really exciting to at least see NEO moving towards this. It's definitely been a falter against a lot of the criticism, but this is not going to happen until towards 2019. So I think we have to take the pros and the cons here. It's good to see NEO taking more of a decentralized approach. I think it builds more confidence because many people felt that this is going to be a fully centralized blockchain, which is what I think most of the NEO ecosystem doesn't want if they're following the fundamentals. But the other thing as well that we have to look at is the fact that this is not going to happen until 2019, and we already have a lot of competitive players like EOS out there having governance models with the block producers, where they're actually going out and not only finding consensus for the network with transactions, but along with that as well are going out in the sense of putting out EOS improvement proposals, all these different governance features. So I'd like to hear what you guys think about this down below. I think it's a win-win-win in the sense that it's actually going towards being more decentralized. But the fact of the matter is it is going to take a little bit longer than I think many of us would hope, waiting for 2019. Nonetheless, good to hear that they're going more towards decentralization. I think it'll keep them with a competitive advantage compared to a lot of players, and I'm proud of Dao Hongfei and the rest of the NEO Foundation for their continued work. So, that being said, guys, that's it for the news today. Just want to let you know I'm going to be visiting Crypto Valley, or Zug, in Switzerland. This is where a lot of the Ethereum based projects are in at the moment. A lot of research in the blockchain cryptocurrency space. So if you guys would like to see me cover some of this area as I visit, please let me know. I'll try to get some video footage while I'm there. We're going to be probably visiting when the weather clears up a little bit. It's a little bit rainy today, but probably the next day or so. But if you guys are interested, please let me know, and I will try to put together a video and show you guys some of my travels. Anyways, guys, I know it was kind of short, but this is pretty much the daily update. There's not too much news in the headlines. I don't want to spam things that aren't relevant at you guys. Only give you guys the real news here at the DataDash channel. But anyways, that's it for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. Stay tuned and take care.